just made the list.
All right, welcome everybody to the Idiots List of Professional Wrestling. Your boy Mikey G here, along with the real John Atkins.
What up?
How about it? How about this?
How about it?
This is what is it, episode 5?
Episode 5.
We have fistful of episodes now.
Hell yeah.
We're on iTunes, Spotify, just like Joe Rogan. He took our lead. He's like,
hell yeah.
Joe Rogan's like, where's the money at? Give me a call.
We're on YouTube now too. Also,
we are. Tell them where to find us, Johnny A. The real Johnny A.
At PW Idiot List on all forms. We're gonna be
all forms of social media.
Everything.
Last week's episode was, what was it? The crossovers from wrestler to mainstream.
Right.
We got a lot of great feedback from that. No video that week though, because David Arquette turned us down.
Nuts.
No David Arquette. That would have been cool though to get him on the week that he announced he was doing Scream 12 or whatever.
Oh, they're doing a new Scream movie?
Yeah, Scream 12. After Wes Craven's dead and everybody else is gone.
I like the Scream movies.
And Harvey Weinstein's in jail or wherever he's at.
See Drew Barrymore get stabbed. It's like
she died in the first one.
Yeah. How about it?
Driving Wrestling 2, the cop showed up. How'd you feel? Well, okay, hold on. Time out. Let me rewind. We've been doing drive-in wrestling shows, just like drive-in theaters.
And they've been great.
They've been dope. They've been really hot. And then after this past week, or during the show this week, the cops showed up. And because somebody called on them, where were you when they showed up? When did you hear? And how did you see? Like, to give me it through your eyes, John Atkins.
I believe I was about to call a match, and then I heard all the fans next to me start saying, "Cops, cops, cops." So I immediately thought Randy Orton is up to some bullshit.
Because Randy Orton is a cop character in Fist Combat.
So I turned around and actually saw the San Diego police. I was like, "Oh shit!" And then I heard,
damn, we're really doing it.
Right,
and I was calling in all the cavalry.
Right, and then I started going over there. I was looking for you, and then once I saw you go over there, I started recording to see just what would happen. And
so basically, I hear this is something we prepared for from day one. You know, if the police showed up, because what we are doing is a little fringe right now. It's not totally legal, not totally illegal. But I was prepared for it because we've been doing comedy like this for the last 6 weeks or so with Jim Pine.
Right.
And I knew that if the police showed up, they were probably there just to see what was going on. They definitely weren't there to actively bust people because there was too many of us there for one cop car to take care. So, you know.
And I mean, we were being safe as we've been promoting on the last couple of weeks. Everyone that had masks.
I think that's the most important thing is that we were being safe. But here's what happened. They pulled up. You got it all on video. You see this at Fist Combat TV. They pull up. I go up there bloody from my match, fucking probably a little high and drunk on whatever. And they're like, yeah, somebody called. We heard there's a report people aren't wearing masks. I was like, well, that's weird because we actually gave out masks that week as part of your ticket. And, I was like, hey, you can come see if you want. And they said, no, we'll take your word for it. And they left and didn't come back. They weren't there to actively bust people and actively shut down people's day.
Yeah, they definitely seemed reasonable. I mean, sucks that someone called them for no reason and waste their time, but they were cool, we were cool, so.
Well, here's the thing: the people are told to do that. It's like see something, say something. Like I don't know how active it was in San Diego, but I know I definitely saw advertisements on social media being like, yo, if you see people breaking the rules, fucking call on them.
Right.
Call the Gestapo.
Snitch, bro, what the fuck? I know, I've been sneaking my way back onto the boardwalk at night again. Fucking breaking the law, walking on the beach.
Why did you rat yourself out like that?
Oh, fuck it, dude.
No, I was kidding.
Rebel.
But yeah, man, and they were all cool with it, and so did you see when I ran back and jumped on the bench like Wolf of Wall Street style? Like,
yeah.
We're not shutting this shit down. That was, besides doing Raw, and Vince and Stephanie being like, good job, that was the coolest moment I've ever had in wrestling. Because, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, too bad they didn't stick around and tune in on the radio, like the comedy cops.
Lucia was giving them masks as they left,
Oh, that's awesome.
Because when I heard the cops were here, my heart dropped to my stomach. You know, my stomach, everything down to my feet. I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. And then I went over there, and as I was talking to them, cool, calm, and collected, you know, I came back and I was like, we won one, you know, because like, look, man, people have been shitting on things I've been doing for a long time, and I'm not trying to make this about me or not about me, but like, when I finally feels like I knew I was in the right, you know, and you go in there and defend yourself that way in a non-defensive manner, and you win that, you know, it feels like you fucking got the world lifted off your shoulders.
I like how the first thing the cops see is a bloody clown with like thumbtacks sticking out of his face and shit.
You know what he said to me? He goes, "Nice gig," and I was like, "How do you know about cutting your head?" You know,
they probably heard. You know, when we got snitched on, they probably got a report that there's like some kind of backyard. You know what I mean? They probably were expecting like kids or something. They expected to be like a full blown.
No, he was like, we got a report that people were doing wrestling with no masks on.
Right, but he probably didn't expect it to be an actual like, you know, full fledged like top tier wrestling promotion. You know, he probably thought it was like some amateur shit. And as soon as they show up, they see like a fucking bloody ass clown, and they're like, "Oh fuck, this is like, oh fucking, they're fine." Like,
you ever see a movie where like the older neighbors are next door and the younger neighbors are next door having a party, right? And the older neighbor wife is like, "Carl, like go over there and tell them they're fucking being assholes." And Carl's like, "Oh fuck, all right, I guess I got to." So Carl goes over there and says, "Hey guys, like I kind of dig what you guys are doing, but I was told to tell you to, you know, like whatever."
Right.
You know, like that's how I felt those police officers were, for sure. There.
Yeah, they were cool. We were following all the safety protocols.
Yeah, LA Times was there. KPBS was there. I had a great time. We're doing it again this Saturday.
I had my temperature taken a couple times rectally, so
you know that was a bonus. We're doing that for everybody. Well, this week we have the top 5 greatest managers in wrestling history. When you and I were talking about this was one that I was excited about because I feel like the art of being a good manager has been kind of lost.
Right.
And, you know, for a while there, especially like through our late teens and early 20s, there were no managers. It was pretty much just like valets, which was like what they would consider a hot piece of ass.
Right. Which is always nice.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
How about it?
But, like, they weren't there to be a manager. So, to me, managers mean something different than just person coming down to the ring with them.
Okay.
You know? So, when we're talking about managers, what do you consider to be a manager versus a valet? Like, to me, Miss Elizabeth, valet. Lita, kind of a manager.
I guess someone that does more than just accompany to the ring. So I'm guessing, like in my mind, like backstage, they're the ones like booking matches and like training them and like, you know. Okay,
so you're going storyline.
Right.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I guess in that, you know, I guess I was going more real world and like what we saw. I got a short list. They added heat to the match.
Okay.
Like they added to the match. They weren't just there. Like they either helped you cheat or they helped. Like, generally, that was their job, was to help.
But what about, like, a valet that, like, distracts them with, like, her tits or whatever?
I mean, valets weren't... They were like... Okay, valet was, like, told to do that. Like, the wrestler was like, hey, get up here now. You know, like some... I'm not trying... Okay, let me say this right now. I'm not being sexist when I say any of this stuff. I'm just talking about the way that they were treated. They weren't treated like a dumb broad, like, hey, come up here, you dumb bitch, and distract this guy. You know, whereas a manager did that proactively.
You are a pig.
I know.
What about Chyna? Because she was a hot piece of ass and a...
But she did she did things on her own accord. You know, she did things intellectually. Like, she didn't wait for Hunter to tell her where to be. Are you trolling me right now? What's going on?
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to agree with that she was a hot piece of ass.
I was going along with what you said. I'm not going to call. I don't want to shame you for your taste in men or women or Chynas. I'm not going to shame you.
But yeah, I
figured you could just take whatever you can get. So
right.
You know,
that's true. I like. Yeah,
so he add to the match several wrestlers, not just one wrestler.
Right.
Because like if I consider like some people were just like with one wrestler, and then after that they weren't. So like Lita really wouldn't have made the list because she was just with the Hardy Boys.
And she was a wrestler.
And she was at SA Rios too, but she wasn't really.
Well, she was with Edge too, right? So.
I mean, okay. But then she was a wrestler, though.
Live sex celebration.
You're a clown. Helped them, perceivably, coach them to do better, bigger and better things, championships, and if they were a good hype machine. That's what I got. What else you got to add to that?
Oh, so that was what was a good manager?
No, what
is a manager?
What was it? How I graded this? I also graded this in, just like we always do, how we saw it.
Right.
Now, I'm not trying to look at the history of wrestling.
Right.
I'm looking at wrestling during my lifetime, how it affected me as a wrestling fan. Right?
So I graded mine more same as you. What they added to the match. I also. The list of who they managed and championships that whoever they managed won.
They had to manage a lot of wrestlers, yeah.
Right. And not just a lot, but
quality.
Right.
Well, see, and here's the thing too, is that a wrestler didn't even get a manager unless they were quality.
Right.
Like how many wrestlers even had a manager that were garbage? Even Kamala was good. He had Kim Chi that really didn't do shit, but go ahead, Nick. Who you got? Who was a wrestler that had a manager that was garbage? That was not a contender at all. Who?
Yeah, I guess I can't really on the spot. I can't think of anybody.
I mean, I'll give you an hour. No, but wrestlers had managers, and I really felt too that back in the day, managers were more like wrestlers that were past their prime, past their day, that were put with wrestlers who had a lot of great qualities but couldn't talk.
Right, and I actually know. Well, never mind. I don't want to mess up my list, but
okay.
But yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Okay, so all great talker. We had that. All right, so when we looked at these lists, of course, we put it out on our social media.
What is the reason for a manager? I guess we should explain that. Why do wrestlers have managers?
Why? Well, okay. I guess a great question. You want me to explain this?
Right.
So a manager, it would be just like if you were a comedian. Okay, to be a good comedian, you don't have to have a manager, right? The shitty comedians don't have managers, right? Right?
Yeah.
But a manager is there to help you make money, because back in the day, winners got more than losers, right? So a manager got a portion of your intake. So a manager would help you, and essentially, if you were looking to get to that next level from good mid card guy to top guy. In real thinking, you would hire a manager, just like in comedy, to take you to the next level.
Okay.
And a manager, and this was the way the managers were perceived.
Oh, so
all about wrestling.
An actual you would
a fucking manager,
any other man. Okay.
An agent.
If you were a singer. Okay, yeah.
It's a manager
or whatever.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
You could be a good.
So it's fucking Turtle. Where
it's what?
Turtle from Entourage.
I never watched that show, but yeah. But exactly that.
Yeah.
The reason to have a manager is because the man go back to the back in the day. Winners won a winner's purse, losers won a loser's purse, just like in boxing and prize fighting, whatever. So a manager would help you essentially win because they would want a bigger cut. I mean, they want the winner's purse.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to help you cheat. They're going to train you. They're going to. A good manager is going to have a stable, like an agency. Good managers had stables back in the day. The Heenan family,
Say Dirty Ron needed a manager.
Never.
But hypothetically, who would be a good manager for Dirty Ron?
Dude, I don't even know. See, the art of the manager now is more of a mouthpiece for wrestlers that can't talk. Right. Because back in the day, managers managed a stable. So you automatically knew if a wrestler came out with that manager, you didn't even have to know the wrestler. You're and that's how a heel, generally because heels have managers before babyfaces do, a heel could get established in a new territory if you came out with a known manager. And there's ranking managers. There was the top manager and then the middle manager.
Right. Yeah. I can see you with Sherry. Scary Sherry.
Sherry'd be a good one. Sherry'd be a good one for sure. Woman would actually probably be who I could ever have a manager. Right off the top of my head, woman.
That'd be pretty. Yeah, I can see that. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, here we go. We kind of got a list together of our rules. When we were looking at this, especially online too, I found a lot of Paul Heyman and Heenan near the top of the list. So for this week, let's go ahead. You and me take those two out of that. We'll debate those two at the end. You cool with that?
Cool with it.
All right. So no Heenan, no Heyman. I wrote Heenan and Hogan because I got drunk, I guess. Yeah, let's go down number 5. You go first this week, ladies first.
Everyone's got a price, baby. $1 Million Man.
He would, yeah. See, he didn't even register to me as a manager, but that's a really good call. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Bam Bam Bigelow, Sid Vicious, Tatanka, and then most notably for me,
Steiner Brothers, bro.
Most notably for me, he's the one that brought in the Ringmaster, aka Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that was, basically launched the fucking greatest wrestler in the company. So I gotta give it to number 5, fucking Ted DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase's a good call. He's somebody that when he was a manager, like I met Ted DiBiase in like 1991, right? As a kid. Obviously, I wasn't an adult, but when I met him, like to me, it didn't register how like he was the biggest heel in wrestling from like right after Hogan slammed Andre. Okay, who were the biggest heels? The biggest heels were like Roddy Piper.
Right.
Then it went to Bundy for WrestleMania 2.
Hell yeah.
By WrestleMania 3, they had turned Andre to be a heel.
Right.
But then from WrestleMania 4 through like WrestleMania fucking 9, like arguably the biggest heel on the roster was the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
I always loved his promos too. Like he has some of the fucking most classic promos,
He had a great laugh. He had the best laugh.
That's a good heel laugh.
But it didn't even really register to me like how important he was as a heel. Like in the late '80s, he was the fucking man, dude. He was the man, and then and then when he was done with that, he managed the Steiner Brothers, the fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin.
So yeah, I always think about because that was basically in Austin. When he became Stone Cold, when he got rid of where he fired Ted DiBiase.
Right. Then that's when Ted went to WCW.
Right.
And my number 5, manager of champions. This guy, from Heat alone, let me look at my list really quick. Besides my number 1, this guy got the most heat, more heat than Paul Heyman, goddammit, or Heenan, really. You want to talk about heat? Bill Alfonso, the former WWF referee, turned ECW referee / worked for the New York State Athletic Commission / Taz's manager / RVD Sabu. The manager of champions. This guy added so much to every match he was a part of. The heat that he brought was immeasurable. Fucking insanity. Did you ever watch any like when Alfonso went to ECW in 95, 96?
I never watched ECW regularly. I would just see big events, like clips of like the major shit that happened, like Stone Cold cutting promos.
Bro, so they brought him in as like the guy that was okay. So ECW's hella rebel, fucking blood everywhere, all this shit.
Right.
Bill Alfonso came in as like a fucking scent gun for the New York State Athletic Commission, for like the Athletic Commission, to like, we're shutting the show down, like, and they fucking hated him. They hated him. From that, he became Taz's manager, and like the Rocket was strapped to his ass. Bill Alfonso, highly underrated. I only saw him on 1 or 2 people's lists.
Hell yeah.
Bill Alfonso.
Nice.
How about it?
Dumbass.
How far are we in? 18. Hey, we're slowly rolling in this week.
All right.
What you got, dumbass?
Number 4, the 1987 Manager of the Year, Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
That's a great one right there.
Oh yeah, I mean Hart Foundation.
How is he not higher on your list, really? No Heenan or Heyman. I mean, don't tell me your list.
Well, yeah, we got rid of Heenan. I got a pretty good list.
If Jimmy Hart is number 4 on your list, like holy shit, Jimmy Hart, man, that's a guy. To me, though, like he very much stayed in the background.
Right.
He was never like the focus.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like Heenan was the
help,
focus.
but when we talk about like helping his clients win,
For sure.
definitely. That seems like more of like a heel thing too that helps your clients win.
I mean, that's what managers are. Managers are pretty much there for heels.
Right.
Here's the fundamental difference between babyface and heels. Babyface and heels are the same guy. The babyface follows all the rules because he's young and he's dumb. The heel is the grizzled vet who just will do no matter what it takes to win, right? There's fundamentally, it's not like Jesus versus Hitler. That's not babyface versus heel. Babyface versus heel is the fundamental difference is I follow the rules because I'm young and I'm dumb, or I'm old enough to know how I can bend them to my favor. Does that make sense? I need to quit drinking before we do these podcasts.
Jesus versus
It's not though. That's not face versus heel.
Anyways, I had Jimmy Hart because
What I said makes sense.
yeah.
Okay. To me only.
Also,
Hart.
he was the because he had
Don't say
a
the N-word.
He was Hockey Talk Man's manager.
Dude, he was everybody's manager. Dino Bravo, fucking Rhythm and Blues, goddamn Heart. He was originally member of the Heart Foundation. You see up on my wall here, he was a manager for Hogan and Beefcake, dog. That motherfucker's round. Get round.
King Kong Bundy. Nasty Boys. I love the Nasty Boys.
Love the Nasty Boys. You are a nasty boy.
Nasty Boys.
If you were a wrestler in the late 80s, early 90s, you'd be in the Nasty Boys for
Fuck
sure.
yeah, dude. I'd be like their Paul Ellerling. I'd fucking kind of dress like them, but not really, you know.
My number 4, here we go. Oh, did you have more?
Nah, that's it.
Number 4, Sunny. Okay?
Ooh.
You want to go back to like Smoky Mountain when she was managing Chris Candido? You want like Sunny, not only does she help everybody, she adds to it. She's sexy, but she's also intelligent. She's one of the very few women that has been effectively
I fucking
used.
knew she was on your list, dude.
You might be surprised at number 3 then. Actually, you know what? My number 3 is probably on your list also.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Mine's are hard. I
on.
don't know. My number.
Sunny. Let me finish talking about how hot Sunny is. Sunny revolutionized women to me because I didn't know women when she was around. I knew about women after the fact, right? But Sunny, like she was the first woman to me that was an actual manager. Miss Elizabeth, never a manager.
Oh.
Sunny was a manager.
Is she universally known as a manager and not a valet, Sunny?
Okay, that's why you have to make your rules. Like,
Right.
what is universally known? Like, who makes those rules? We're making our own fucking rules. We're making our own fucking rules. No, but Sunny though, like she helped. You felt if you look back at it and you go, hey, do you think she helped strategize shit for them and gave them shit that they used? Yeah. Okay. Well, then she was a manager. If she was just like, hey, you know what you should do? Just suck their dicks and ask for their dad's credit card. Like then she's just a dumb bitch valet. You know what I'm saying? Are we gonna get canceled, John Haggins?
Well, I'm trying. I just trying not to make a Shawn Michaels joke right now about Sunny. So
I mean, do whatever, dude. You think people listen to this shit?
I was actually listening. I was listening to a podcast today of my number 3 talking shit about your number 4.
Go on.
Good old Jim Cornette.
Is your number 3?
Yeah.
The fuck does the rest of your list look like?
Fucking money, baby.
Money.
So I was listening to a podcast today where he was actually shitting on Mark Marrow, but it just happened. He was talking shit about Sable too, and he's just like, well, Sunny was an outright cunt, and then Sable was like a cunt behind the scenes or whatever.
That's what you want, though. That's what you want. Sunny was a fucking manager. Sunny was somebody that strategized. Sunny knew what her value was. Sunny was just one walking around being like, oh, I'm hot. Like that, you know, she crazy. But whatever. My number 3, while you're at, so what is yours, number 5 through 3?
$1 Million Man, Jimmy Hart, and Jim Cornette.
All right. Number 5, Alfonso. Number 4, Sunny. Number 3, Sherry fucking Martel. All right. Do you want to talk about women in wrestling? Not only did she propel Shawn Michaels to truly the next level. She was monumental in what she did with Harlem Heat. You know, like she fucking right? Like she fucking dude, like she was like, yo, I'm like this badass white bitch with these fucking 2 Harlem Heat ass motherfuckers.
She knew how to make Booker T feel better when he fucked up on a promo.
Hey man, Sherry Martel was somebody.
You Hogan.
We're gonna talk about promos, and that's gonna be on my
you
top
had Sherry,
5.
I had Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette, great manager, managed Owen Hart, Yokozuna.
Fucking everybody.
He was fucking.
Jim Cornette managed the Midnight Express. Jim Cornette was somebody that used to make money in wrestling when managers made an equal pay as the wrestlers that they managed did. Okay, you want to talk about real life? A real manager was somebody that earned the payday that they got. Back when Jim Cornette was being a manager, managers, you were an act. You know, you were an act. Like, and your act got paid X amount of dollars. If you were a tag team with a manager, your act got paid and it got split by 3. You know, that's the way that it fucking was. And that's why your spot was so crucial, because not only like did you get a great payday like the wrestlers did, you didn't have to bump. So you had to the spots for those guys were like even harder to come by. So when you found a good manager that did his role and like earned the same pay as the boys, and the boys were cool with that, like, dude, that's fucking priceless.
Yeah, I always thought, like, if I would ever try to get part of the business, I think being a manager would be something I always wanted to do. So I always felt like
you'd be good at it.
I'd be able to talk for people who can't talk.
But see, it's not just like talking shit and getting heat. You know, it's adding to the match.
Right.
You know, when I first started being a manager for a hot minute, I would like try to be the attention taken off of everything and onto me. And that's fine when there's a wrestle on. You know, there's ways to like shine. But if you're going out there and, you know, like you're trying to outshine the thing, that's bad. But if you're going out there like Jim Cornette or Shane Martel,
right,
then you're adding to the match.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that'd be something I'd be good at.
You would be good at it.
Fucking.
But right now you're the best ring announcer in the game.
Yeah, I like the moment Saturday during the tag team match. The tag team championship match.
Yeah.
Where, because me and when we were going over it, we were discussing, you know, it being a no disqualification match.
You know.
That just came out perfectly at the end where I was like, oh, this match is still no disqualification. Anyways, you guys have to watch the match. It's a fucking great match. New tag team champions of this combat.
That's right, Fruit of the Doom.
Hell yeah.
Super over.
Earned it.
They earned it. They're over. But yeah, you know, you can see the importance of how good a good manager can be versus somebody that's just out there to be eye candy or to like help distract or fucking, you know.
Also, I would be good eye candy, so I'd be like a valet.
I mean, you'd be great. You gotta wear a bikini.
Can I be a male valet? Have there ever been any male valets?
I mean, hold on, you put me on the spot.
Patterson.
No, Rico. When Billy and Chuck had that fucking Rico guy, he was kind of like a male. He was the closest you could have to a male ballet.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be funny. He was more like a manager though, because he was like all conniving and shit.
Because he had a penis, because he was a man. No, I'm just kidding. Before we go on, let's talk. You want? Oh no, we'll do it before number one. Did you? Okay. Somebody on our fucking post, right, said, if you don't have a list with Gary Hart and the Grand Wizard, it doesn't count. And I felt really uncomfortable putting any guy on my list named the Grand Wizard.
I was like,
did you see that? No, like the Grand Wizard was like a super fucking legit ass manager back in the day. First of all, I never saw anything that he did while it happened. Do you know anything about the Grand Wizard? Or can we safely not have him on our list and just not talk about it? Don't get too excited to say Grand Wizard on our...
when I was doing my research, I did see his name pop up a lot, but...
You did research? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's why it's such a great list, dude. Fucking $1 Million Man.
Hey, that's good. This is what's great is that you and I, like, so hard make sure that we don't look at each other's list before the show starts, and like we come up with all the rules and everything right when you show up before we start getting all fucked up.
Midway. All
right, number 2. Read me a list of number 2.
$1 Million Man, Jimmy Hart, Jim Cornette, Captain Lou Albano.
That's a good one. All right, now hold on. How much of Captain Lou did you see in your life, though?
Head Shrinkers.
Okay. You right.
Some of the Wild Samoans.
Okay.
So, I mean...
so this, for you, this is more of a pick from, like, history and nostalgia than it is it impacted your life.
Well,
I mean, it's fine.
I wouldn't say even really impacted.
I mean, okay. Oh, you mean you didn't watch Jim Cornette and go, oh, my God.
I do now.
I gotta wear red pants.
I do now.
And lavender fucking sport coats. Or the yellow tie.
I love Jim Cornette.
How about it?
But, you know,
so, why? Okay, he's number 2 on your list.
Yeah.
Why did you put him number 2?
He led 15 different tag teams.
Okay, so this was you looked through the list.
The list
of like what he did.
He was gonna. He's the name that popped in my head. So when he popped in my head, I wanted to legitimize it by like double checking that it wasn't just
No, that's fine.
a nostalgia thing.
I'm just checking your whole credibility right now.
But yeah, he had 15 different teams that he managed that were tag team champions.
There you go. That makes sense.
And he managed Ivan Koloff when he beat Bruno for the title.
There you go. Okay, that's it. There you go.
Plus, head shrinkers.
All right. Well, whatever. I just want to know why he made your list. Because to me, here, I'll give you my
Plus, I'm
number 2.
a huge Cyndi Lauper fan, so.
Oh, there you go. My list now so far: Bill Alfonso, Sonny, Sherry Martel, Jimmy Hart is my number 2. Jimmy Hart, like we said, we've already said pretty much everything about Jimmy Hart. He fucking managed anybody. Anybody that had him as a manager, instant credibility. Managed a ton of champions. He was a company guy.
Remember WCW, Dungeon of Doom?
Oh, bro.
Like Kevin Sullivan and shit?
Yeah. But Jimmy Hart, to me, the reason Jimmy Hart isn't on the top of my list is because he was never like the focus. He was always there. He helped. He did his thing. But he was never like somebody that was like a great hype machine. Like he could hold his own. He did hold his own. But he never made it about him.
Low-key, I think Dennis Rodman got the inspiration for spray painting his hair from Jimmy Hart's like airbrush jackets and shit they used to wear.
Sure, I smoked DMT before I come up with shit myself, so that makes sense.
Fashion icon Jimmy Hart.
Before we get to the end of this, let me tell you why people didn't make my list. Mr. Fuji, it was really too much before my time. Paul Bearer didn't make it because of diversity. He really only managed a couple guys. Woman would have been my number 6. Gary Hart, again, a little bit before my time. Same with Captain Lou Albano, before my time. Anybody that didn't make your list glaringly?
I thought about Mr. Fuji, but yeah, I only remember him with...
Before your time, yeah.
Yeah, I only remember him with Yoko.
No, yeah. I mean, he was around for the Orient Express, Demolition, fucking tons of guys.
What about Johnny Polo?
Get out of here. We're moving on. Number 1. Let's blow through this.
Number 1, Paul Bearer.
All right, great manager. You want to talk about elite wrestling managers? There's one guy right there. Tell me why.
Well, I mean, when you talk about helping someone win,
yeah,
I mean, the magical powers of the urn, helping
For
the
sure.
Undertaker rise again and again. I mean,
sure.
that's like the best example of that. And then, with him being Kane's father and bringing in Mankind, and I think all around, he had the biggest impact to me as a manager on what he did.
Look at it like this, too. Of all the people that we've said, Paul Bearer is the only guy that all he managed were fucking like the best.
Right.
Undertaker, Kane, Mankind. That's it. That's all. Like
Phil Jackson, dude. He's Phil Jackson.
Well, I mean, I know he managed people before that, but like to me, that's who he managed. That was his shit. I know he was Percy Pringle the third before that.
Right.
Did some shit, but like to me, that's who Paul Bearer is.
And to me, he managed.
He didn't make it on my list for diversity though.
Well, because he was with the Paul Bearer, or he was with the Undertaker for like 10 years, or
a million.
So
yeah,
a lot of the managers were short-lived. So
my number 1, Jim Cornette. We talked about him. Talk about a guy that hits everything on my list on criteria. He added heat. He had several wrestlers. He helped. He had champions galore, and he was the best hype machine that is allowed to be on our list. What else can you say about Jim Cornette?
He has a great podcast. He probably has the best wrestling. I know Talking Jericho is probably the number 1 podcast besides Idiot's List. We're number 2.
No, we're number 1. He's number 2.
Jim Cornette should be number 2. Yeah, after us. He has a great fucking podcast.
Jim Cornette, do you think that he's like milking everything?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude.
Good. All right.
He's a fucking.
You're smart. All right, so let's get down to it before we read everybody's list. We took 2 people off of our list this week because it was near everybody's top of their list. Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, 2 of the most monumental and revered professional wrestling managers in the history, at least in our generation, to people around our age. Now, you're about to tell me something that's about to get you kicked off this podcast. When I said, let's take Heyman and Heenan off of our top 5 list, you said, and I might bleep it out, but go ahead and say what you said.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't even on my top 5.
Who?
Heyman.
All right. What? All right. We good to go?
But look
again?
at my
Okay.
list, though.
All right.
My
Dude,
list was too money.
fuck you and your stupid ass list. How is Paul Heyman not on your list? Paul. Okay, hold on. If you want to look at look at manager in like the character role, and look at manager in like what really a real manager of wrestlers is. There's nobody been better in the history of wrestling, including Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon was not nearly the on-screen character Paul Heyman was. Vince McMahon maybe has done more for wrestlers in his time as a behind-the-scenes manager of wrestlers, but if you want to take all that in combined, there's nobody that even comes close to Heyman. That's why he was off my list. You feel what I'm saying?
No, I get it. I mean, my list was more WWE centric.
Okay.
Basically, what everyone was doing at WWE. So,
Which is fine.
as far as being a man, yeah, he's the best like now. But
And here's why. He truly, like what a manager is today, there's nobody better than him, because managers are just hype pieces. Brock Lesnar should have never talked. Paul Heyman is everything that Brock Lesnar is lacking. And the way that he can tell a story, and that's what gets me with Heyman, is that he tells stories. You know, like he builds it up for you, and he tells you everything you need to know, and takes you on a journey. Like, I could just listen to that motherfucker talk forever.
the last, you know how lately the last couple of years, the fans have been souring on Brock a little bit.
The vocal minority, sure.
Yeah. I just kind of get tired of Heyman's. I don't know. His promos look great, but they're just kind of starting to get repetitive to me. And
In a sense, I could see that. I could see that.
he just, I mean, I know he's good, but compared to all time, I don't know.
But I think that's more out of your necessity of having to see something new all the time.
Yeah.
Because
I never watched the same porno twice, dude.
I mean, I hear you on that. Very rarely have I watched the same porno twice.
I just go from window to window and find whatever blinds are open.
Nice. I like that. We'll keep that in, but we'll edit out the part about you and Heyman. But that's why Heyman was so special to me, is because he could find out a wrestler and how to make them the best they could absolutely be. And to me, there's not been a better manager of wrestlers in front of the scenes and behind the scenes than him. However, if we're talking about just on screen, the greatest manager in the history of wrestling, bar none, can't even be touched, Bobby Heenan. That motherfucker came up with new terms. He made it interesting. He made talk about Bobby Heenan for me.
I fucking love Bobby Heenan, dude.
He was so smart. You know, he was only second grade educated. Dude's dumb as fucking books.
Because I like memorable quotes and shit. So my all-time favorite, two. I got two great Bobby Heenan lines. The one is when Shawn Michaels turned on Marty Jannetty, and when he threw him through the window, he's like, "Oh, the coward!" He called Marty Jannetty a coward, like he's trying to get away and shit.
He could find a quintessential thing to take the total 180,
right.
And that's what's so great about him, because everybody's wrestling is a lot of misdirection,
right.
And Bobby could always take that misdirection and go the total opposite way that makes you stop and think and go, "Oh my god, that's so, I couldn't even imagine saying that right now, right? You know, we're all watching that happen, and he's
right.
That coward."
Plus, he had the all-time greatest.
Jumping through.
He had the all-time greatest call at Bash at the Beach '96.
With the fucked up one?
When Hogan was coming out, or after Hogan turned and joined the NWO, he was like,
what's called?
"I was right all along." He's like, "I always told you Hogan was a scumbag."
Heenan was great. Heenan was great because he always knew what his role was. His role was always a contrarian. And by contrarian meaning, anytime somebody says one thing, you got to say the most total opposite thing you can say. And that's his job, though. That's wrestling. It's manipulating emotions. And he was never the fucking babyface emotion. He was always the heel emotion. And to be able to see things the way that he saw them and then take them the way that he did, nobody in the history of wrestling ever did it better or could have done it better.
I just liked how when Hogan was a face, he was always shitting on Hogan. He's like, "Oh, you guys don't know the real Hogan like I do," and all that shit, And then once Hogan joined the NWO, he's like, "I always told you he was a scumbag." That's fucking Bobby the Brain, dude. All these guys make good announcers, too, or commentators.
Yeah, because they know how to manipulate emotion.
Right.
So, that's what their job is, manipulating emotion. All right, well, hey, let's give out, so out of Heenan and Heyman, I say Heyman is our number one, but for different reasons than Bobby Heenan.
Yeah, I got Bobby Heenan at number one for sure, dude. The Heenan family, fucking Rick Rude.
Dude, he had everybody.
That's
He
fine.
really had everybody. But also the Dangerous Alliance in WCW had almost the same people. He had Austin, he had Rick Rude, he had Bobby Eaton, he had all the motherfuckers. Does that do it for us? Give us your list from top to bottom to top.
Bottom to top, $1 Million Man, Jimmy Hart, Jim Cornette, Paul Bearer. Oh wait, Captain Lou, Paul Bearer, and then Bobby the Brain, I guess.
Oh, is your number one? Was that
Well,
six?
no,
Give us your five, you cunt.
$1 Million Man,
Yeah.
Jimmy Hart, Jim Cornette, Captain Lou Albano, Paul Bearer.
All right. My 5-1, Alfonso, Sonny, Sherry Martel, Jimmy Hart, Jim Cornette. My number one, Paul Heyman.
I want to change my number one to Sonny too, actually.
Sunny days. All right, let's read the listener ones. Dan Perez says, classic, this is top to bottom. Freddie Blassie, Paul Heyman, Paul Bear, Bobby the Brain, Jimmy Hart. Keith Hammond says Bobby the Brain, Jim Cornette, Sensational Sherry, Paul Heyman, Jimmy Hart. Abel says Jim Cornette, Bobby Heenan, Jimmy Hart, Captain Lou, Mr. Fuji. Everett Scott says number one, Everett Scott, Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, Paul Bear, Captain Lou. Joe Pacheco says Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, Paul Bear, Paul Ellering, Mr. Fuji. A lot of Pauls on there.
You know who I left off?
Who?
Fucking Colonel Parker.
Get out of here. We'll talk about that in a second. Brandon Johnson says Bobby Heenan, Jimmy Hart, Paul Heyman, Paul Bear, Precious Paul Ellering. He also put a 5 underrated managers. Number one, Skandar Akbar, Bill Alfonso, Teddy Long, Mr. Fuji, Slick.
Playa.
Mondo Perez says Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, Jim Cornette, J.J. Dillon, Paul Bear, J.J. Dillon, the manager of the Four Horsemen. Derek Downey says Woman, Jimmy Hart, Bill Alfonso, Bobby Heenan, Paul Bear.
That's China.
Hold on, we're not done. Hawkamelon says Everett Scott, Paul Ellering, Mr. Fuji, Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman. Pro Bono, former video editor for Fist. Slick, the Doctor of Style, just so we knew which Slick. Mr. Fuji, Cornette, Heyman, Heenan. Chris Gimlin says Heenan, Sherry, Blassie, Hart, Cornette. Joe Vernola, God, this is getting redundant. Joe Vernola says Grand Wizard, couldn't say that one. Heenan, Heyman, Gary Hart, Cornette.
I want to change my top.
Colonel Parker, Grand Wizard, Colonel Parker, Grand Wizard, Grand Wizard 2. Dan Ripley says Bobby Heenan, Jimmy Hart, Paul Heyman, Vanderpile, I don't know what that is, Everett Scott, Michael Hedrick, Bobby, Dillon, Cornette, Heyman, Paul Bear. He said Paul Bear, not Bear, but whatever. I knew what you meant. Steve Lucas.
Bear like a...
Yeah. Steve Lucas, fucking esteemed member of the Fist Ring Crew. Paul Bear, Jimmy Hart, Armando Estrada, Jim Cornette, Bobby Heenan. Nothing too glaring on there. Rob Parker, talk about it. How about it?
That's gonna, whenever I become a manager, that's gonna be my inspiration. Colonel John Atkins.
Yeah.
Give me a white suit, a white cowboy hat.
I don't know if I approve of that.
Dude, me and Order fucking... Actually, he doesn't need a manager.
He is the manager.
Yeah, I know. He's fucking too good on the mic. Dumbass!
He is really good.
He was
really
fucking
good.
loving it. He killed it this week. I'm kind of worried about Dirty Ron next week.
You should be. Spoiler alert. No, I'm not going to tell you.
Is this a championship match?
Yeah. And well, you know what happened is Randy Orton. Here's what's been happening. Randy Orton has been trying to shut down the party every week. He's talking all this shit. Dirty Ron's pissed, man. He's about to shut this motherfucker down. But hey, I tell you, the authority is something I'd worried about. I'd worry about that shit. You never know.
I mean, he already called for backup last week, so I don't know what tricks he's got up his sleeve this week.
Oink oink,
Motherfucker.
motherfuckers.
Most hated man of Fist Combat, Officer Randy Order.
Besides you. All right. Well, you know, we might be ending a little bit early this week. Who gives a shit? We did it. Top 5 every week. We tape on Wednesdays, put it out on Thursdays. We ask questions all over social media, Monday, Tuesday, or whenever we get to it. Follow us. We love interacting with people. We love talking wrestling because deep down, I'm a fucking 36-year-old lifelong wrestling fan. I love this shit. John, tell them why they should listen to us.
Because we know more about wrestling than you, and we're trying to teach you people shit. I saw your terrible list,
China, you're going to heel. Going to heel,
Dude,
bro.
my man D-Rock, do you have a list this week?
Yeah.
What was his?
Get out of here. I'm not
Shout out
coming back.
D-Rock, dude.
I read it. I said it's Derek. I think that's his name.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Derek. Fist Faithful comes to every show. Shout out.
It does now.
Hell yeah. We should, because we know what we're talking about, dude. We got combined 50 years fucking experience, 70 years experience.
Well, here's what I love about this is because it's something that, yeah, we can talk about it and we can debate, but none of us are right.
I'm right. I'm winning
Okay.
5 weeks
All
to
right.
nothing so
Okay,
far.
my bad.
I'm smoking your ass right now.
Did I give you shavings in my butt? Butt shavings?
Come on. I had China as one of my best intercontinental champions, bro. You can't fuck about
Well, you didn't put her on manager list.
Yeah. She's more of a valet because she's a hot piece of ass.
How about it? Every week, man, this is a lot of fun because legit, we have fun talking about it. It's very open. People can get involved in the conversation, and it's something we can all talk about because as a lifelong wrestling fan, I look past a lot of things in people if they're wrestling fans. So, like, I love talking wrestling. Wrestling's been my whole life, and it's something that I love talking about. I love talking about it. Did I already say that 12 times?
Why do you love talking about it?
Because I love it. I love it. I love watching it. I know. I feel like I know enough to be able to have an opinion on it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not like a shitty opinion either. Like it's very well rounded, and that's why I picked you. I've had this idea to do this podcast for a while,
Right.
but I picked you because like you have a perspective different from me,
Right.
but you also have like a very long, well-rounded perspective.
Yeah.
Some people only watch wrestling for a little bit, you know.
I can teach you a thing or two.
All right.
Fucking full heel, baby.
John Atkins, I love you, dude. You're a great dude. At least that's what I'm telling people publicly.
Yeah, dude. And also, you know, I've been a fan, you know, for 30 years. You've been a fan for 30 years, a wrestler for 20 years, promoter for whatever, 15 years.
Yeah.
But we
watch it, and we like to have fun talking about it because here's the thing: is that ultimately this is all fantasy talk, and it's all what would this, what would that, and that's what makes this so great.
Right.
And I think that's what brings people together. Is that to me, no matter who you are, or what you do, or how you look, or how you smell, or whatever your fucking political views are.
I don't know about smell.
Nah, man. You know, I hold my nose. I don't give a fuck. Like. If you like, I had a joke about this, but if you like wrestling, I'll look past so much shit because wrestling is something that's been it's like been the biggest part of my life, for real, besides breathing and drinking water. Been around longer than fucking, bro.
Is Enzo a manager?
Stop. And, no.
He always wrestled the whole time, right?
Yeah, they were tagged the whole time.
Okay.
Are we figuring out our rules still?
Yeah.
Alright. Time to stop.
Perfectionist.
PW Idiot List all over social media on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that shit. At Dirty Ron McDonald. John, tell them where to find you.
At Real John Atkins. Still currently banned from Facebook. No longer banned on Instagram. Still banned on Twitter. Not banned on YouTube.
Yeah.
So.
Tune in, hang out, fucking have a lot of fun, answer our questions. We'll read your shit on air. Talk some shit. We love wrestling. If you're not down with it, 2 words.
Suck it.
That's right. Suck it.
The city of losers.
Easy. Kings, you help.